Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Speak Up Weekly. I'm Lisa, and with me is your co host, Julyza. Today, we're diving into a topic that honestly, it just unlocks human potential in the most profound way imaginable. I keep thinking about this quote from a teacher talking about a student who started using an AAC device. She said, "Our boy has just skyrocketed with confidence."
He had assembly today, and he was standing up there with his AAC device to do his part, which before he would just sit there because he had no voice. Just wow, that's a transformation, right?
It really is.
Imagine for a second being unable to express your thoughts, your needs, your joy, even your frustration. Well, for countless individuals, this isn't hypothetical, it's their daily reality. But there's this powerful, genuinely life altering solution emerging right at the intersection of technology and empathy: augmentative and alternative communication, AAC.
Exactly. And today we're embarking on pretty comprehensive deep dive into AAC. We want to explore what it is, how it works, the incredible benefits, but also the very real challenges of implementing it. We'll look at it from every angle, from the practical sort of nuts and bolts tips for using it in a classroom, right through to the really profound ethical considerations. And maybe most importantly, we'll hear about the raw, honest experiences from parents and get insights reflecting the voices of AAC users themselves. Our goal really is to give you a holistic understanding, a pathway to becoming genuinely well informed about this transformative field.
So, our mission today is to equip you not just with facts, but with a really nuanced understanding of AAC. We want to highlight its power: the power to grant a voice, foster independence, build connections, and crucially, to show how it really does take a village of support for these remarkable systems to thrive.
Yeah, seeing the whole picture from the device itself right out to the entire support network. So communication, it's the bedrock of human interaction, isn't it? Something many of us just take for granted. We share thoughts, desires, frustrations, often without even thinking about it. But for a significant portion of the population, maybe more than we realize, verbal communication just isn't an option.
That's exactly right. For individuals living with conditions like, say, autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, even speech delays, apraxia, even traumatic brain injuries, the simple act of speaking can be this daily monumental struggle. And you have to think about the profound impact this has on, well, every single aspect of their lives, from simple requests like, I'm hungry, to expressing really complex emotions. Their ability to navigate the world, to connect with others, it's severely limited. AAC Plus actually points out that often missed cues or misunderstood signs can lead to frustration for everyone involved. It's not just the person trying to communicate, it affects their whole circle: family, friends, and caregivers.
Yeah. And you really see that frustration, that guessing game aspect comes through in the sources. There was one parent in the PubMed Central study who described it so vividly. She said, I feel that that's been her main point of communication is to just point to something. And then we kind of go through the laundry list of, okay, what do you want? Do you want this? Do you want that? Trying to guess and figure out what she wants.
That constant guessing, it's not just inefficient, is it? It sounds emotionally draining.
Yeah. It highlights the sheer daily effort involved in just trying to understand a basic need or feeling.
It certainly does. It really underscores the critical need for a more direct, a more reliable channel of communication.
So, what actually changes when AAC enters the picture? You said it goes beyond just being a workaround.
Oh, it absolutely does. When you start to distill the immediate tangible benefits that are cited across all these different sources, a really clear picture emerges. It's genuinely transformative. AAC isn't just a communication tool, it's a profound enabler of life altering change. I mean, first off, you see this massive reduction in frustration and meltdowns.
Kids can finally express their needs, their wants, their feelings. Parents online were talking about this, how their kids would get very frustrated not being able to get us to understand before AAC. Suddenly having that outlet brings this, palpable sense of peace to daily life for the child and for the family. And it's not just about reducing the negatives, is it? It sounds like it actively fosters growth.
Exactly. When users can become more self reliant in communicating, it naturally builds their autonomy and self confidence.
Research also shows that it leads to increased participation in activities and a more positive self image.
It's a direct link, right? Having a voice leads to believing in yourself.
And this newfound confidence, it just radiates outwards. It enhances social connections, participation. These apps can be like instruments of empathy, allowing users to engage in more meaningful social interactions.
And it's not just academic learning, right? It's emotional learning too. AAC Plus highlights that AAC apps act as a bridge connecting the emotional world of nonverbal individuals with those around them, allowing them to express things like, I'm happy or I'm upset, which again reduces frustration, promotes self esteem.
And this point about emotional expression, it's so critical. So many individuals are just presumed to have limited understanding or, limited emotional depth simply because they can't vocalize it in a typical way.
AAC just shatters those assumptions. It doesn't just give people a voice, it gives one friendships. It gives them a place within the social world. It's an invitation to connections that were denied before.
So, okay, what exactly is AAC? Let's define it. At its core, alternative and augmentative communication. That's what AAC stands for. It refers to the tools and strategies people use to supplement or compensate for impairments in speech language production and/or comprehension. It can either support speech someone already has, or it can provide an entirely new way to communicate. So it's a really broad umbrella, not just one single solution.
So think sign language, gestures, facial expressions, body language, things you always have with you, basically, drawing on your own body.
Exactly. And then contrasting that, you have aided AAC, which, well, as the name suggests, uses external tools or devices. And this category gets broken down further. You've got low tech things like paper based systems, maybe communication boards with symbols, even just screenshots of page sets from a high tech device. These are essential, especially for backup.
And then you have high tech. These are the electronic ADC systems, usually with voice output, things like dedicated speech generating devices, or more commonly now, maybe tablet based apps like Proloquo2Go or Grig 50. While the tech specifics are interesting, maybe the key insight here is the versatility and the necessity of having options across this range. That low tech board might seem simple, but it's a total lifeline when the high tech device runs out of battery or breaks.
And within these systems, there's some specific vocabulary that helps us understand how they're built and used, like core and fringe vocabulary.
Yes, that's a really important distinction. Core vocabulary or core words, these are the words we use constantly, every single day in lots of different situations. Think words like go, want, more, stop, help. They're super versatile, making up a huge percentage of our daily communication.
Yeah. And then in contrast, you have fringe vocabulary or fringe words. These are much more specific to an individual or a particular situation. They tend to be nouns, often like bike, pizza, maybe specific people's names, like peers' names. While core words seem simple, actually ensuring they're placed strategically on a device and modeled consistently, that's complex. A really robust AAC system needs both that solid core for flexible generative language and the fringe vocabulary to talk about personal interests and immediate needs. Understanding that difference is crucial if you're trying to customize an AAC system effectively, making sure it really reflects the user's life and environment.
So, these high tech options, the apps and devices, they're obviously more than just fancy gadgets. They sound like really sophisticated platforms designed specifically to connect users to their world.
They really are. And what's truly fascinating, I think, is the core functionality. The ability for users to select symbols or images or sometimes text, which the app then translates into spoken language.
That gives a clear, efficient way to express things. But the real game changer and what makes these platforms so incredibly powerful is their customizability. This is definitely not a one size fits all situation.
Users can personalize pretty much everything, creating custom vocabulary that's tailored to their daily life, their interests, adjusting settings like the speech output voice, different voice options, and even the spacing between the buttons on the screen.
That level of personalization must be what truly makes an AAC app feel like their voice, not just a voice.
Exactly. And some of the more advanced apps even offer things like predictive text, kind of like what you find on your smartphone keyboard now. That further tailors the experience to the individual user's needs and can make communication faster, more fluid. If you connect this to the bigger picture, it's all about making that interaction as natural and as intuitive as possible for that specific person.
It makes me think about, how much we customize our own digital communication, our phone keyboard, shortcuts, even emojis. AAC seems to offer that same level of personalization, but for something as fundamental as the right to communicate.
That's a great analogy. The technology adapts to the person, not the other way around.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork for what AAC is, its incredible potential. Let's turn our attention to, well, the nuts and bolts, the practical steps that actually bring an AAC system to life and make sure it's reliable. It sounds simple, maybe, but just ensuring a device is ready seems to involve several really critical technical points.
Oh, absolutely. These tips are really foundational. They're aimed at preventing those frustrating technical glitches from becoming actual communication barriers. First, and maybe it sounds obvious, but it's crucial device accessibility. The device has to be always within reach and visible. If a student can't reach it or see it, well, they simply won't be able to use it.
Makes sense.
So, this means really thinking carefully about cases, straps, maybe mounting stands, things that allow the device to be taken literally everywhere. I remember one teacher noted he was bringing his device to school, and before it would stay in his bag all day. And now, if he's not got it, it's like he's missing an elbow or missing an arm.
Wow. That really speaks volumes about how integrated it becomes part of their identity, even.
Doesn't it? And we all understand how vital a charged phone is, right?
Mhm.
But for an AAC user, a dead battery isn't just an inconvenience, it's literally a loss of voice.
Yeah, critical.
So, the key insight here is the need for proactive redundancy, not just one charger, but spares, and building a charge first mindset into every setting home, school, everywhere, because communication just can't wait for a charge. Similarly, dedicating the device primarily to communication is really vital. Tablets can do lots of things, but if it's also loaded with games and videos, its main purpose can get diluted. Things like guided access on an iPad can lock it to the communication app, preventing distractions and reinforcing its role as the voice.
Good point. Keep it focused.
And finally, protection and backups. These are non negotiable. These devices need to go everywhere, survive drops, maybe spills. So, a protective, often waterproof cover is pretty much a must. And always have a low tech, paper based backup system ready. Screenshots of key pages, a core word board. Technology will fail sometimes. Batteries die, devices break. The student absolutely needs a voice during those technical hiccups.
So it's really about establishing this robust, reliable system, something that supports continuous communication no matter the circumstances. But no one operates in a vacuum, especially when it comes to supporting an AAC user. The sources really highlight that assessment and follow through take a village, and building strong partnerships is just key.
It truly, truly does take a village.
And the overarching principle here seems to be building trust and shared purpose. This means taking the time up front to get to know each other, understanding the student, the environment, the specific difficulties, but also the opportunities for communication, sharing fears, asking questions.
The goals for using AAC need to fit into school routines, into individualized education plans, IEPs, not just feel like some extra thing piled on top. As one educator pointed out, it was about what we were doing. It was like, what are you doing in your classroom today? It wasn't an extra thing, it was normal work. It actually helped. That integration makes AAC feel like a natural part of learning, not a separate burden.
That makes it sustainable.
Exactly.
Also, setting small, achievable goals is critical. Focus on maybe just one or two specific items per visit or per week, like using the device to say good morning to the teacher. Small, consistent successes build momentum towards those bigger objectives.
Okay, and this next one feels really big. Thinking about perceptions and expectations. Specifically, are they high enough?
Oh, that's such a profound point. We might be assuming about a student's abilities simply because they don't communicate verbally in a typical way. Low expectations inadvertently limit opportunities. If we only expect or provide opportunities for one or two word utterances, that might be all we get. Perception drives expectation, which drives opportunity, which ultimately drives achievement. It can become a self limiting cycle.
Or a self fulfilling one in a positive way?
Precisely. That's just a stunning testament to how AAC can utterly shatter our preconceptions and reveal the true potential underneath.
Shifting gears slightly, but staying with the crucial village concept, let's talk about parents. Parents are clearly the experts in their children's lives, but they seem to take on these immense roles that often go unseen.
Oh, completely. They're not just caregivers, they are service coordinators, tireless advocates, researchers, teachers, device technicians, system maintainers. The list goes on. They spend countless hours researching supports and solutions to try and enhance their child's communication. Often they find themselves having to fight. That was the word used for appropriate AAC systems, systems that actually fit their child's unique needs. This really highlights a system where parents often have to become these fierce advocates, initiating requests, pushing for change, sometimes even educating the professionals involved.
That sounds incredibly demanding. They're not just finding solutions, but often literally creating the path for those solutions to even exist.
And their responsibilities don't stop once a device is finally obtained. Parents are constantly preparing and maintaining AAC systems, making sure devices are charged, programming new vocabulary, creating low tech backups, ensuring everything is ready for use at school or therapy at all times.
The success of AAC really hinges on having a robust professional ecosystem and, crucially, seamless interprofessional collaboration. Communication is everyone's responsibility. Speech language pathologists, SLPs, are obviously central. They typically lead the charge in assessment, device selection, intervention strategies.
Okay, so SLPs are key, but this journey to effective AAC often involved a whole team, right? What other professionals are critical to this village and how their roles, maybe in ways we wouldn't immediately think of, contribute to an AAC user's success?
That's a really important question because occupational therapists, OTs, often get overlooked in the AAC conversation, but their role is absolutely critical. OTs are vital for things like ensuring proper physical positioning for device access. the actual device setup and mounting, addressing visual perception issues, managing sensory needs that might impact use, looking at range of motion, and critically, OTs also bring expertise on the holistic mental health, participation in daily activities. Their input ensures that the actual physical interaction with the AAC device is actually optimized, comfortable, and sustainable for the individual. Without OT involvement, even the most perfectly programmed AAC system might be physically inaccessible or just too overwhelming to use effectively.
That really highlights the need for strong team coordination and consistency, doesn't it? If everyone isn't on the same page, using the same strategies, even the same symbols or signs, it could create real confusion for the child.
Exactly.
Communication, especially with AAC, is often messy. It involves trial and error. The pressure to be perfect right away can be absolutely paralyzing. It's much more about iteration, adaptation, and just starting.
That takes a lot of pressure off it, I bet.
It really does. It's important to know your support systems. Don't try to do it all alone. This means identifying your key contacts, the therapy team members, the device suppliers, and crucially, knowing the actual name of the device so you can Google it for troubleshooting. Helpful support websites or online communities, there's a network out there to help. You just need to know how to tap into it.
Build your village actively.
Yes. Instead of constantly asking yourself, am I doing this right? Because there often isn't one single right way. Shift the focus to, is it making a difference for this individual? If communication is happening, if connection is growing, even in small ways, then you are doing something right for that person in that context.
So, we have covered a lot of ground today. Communicating fundamentally is and should be an enjoyable experience. Think about why most of us communicate: to chat with friends, tell jokes, build social relationships, learn new things, share our thoughts, our likes, our dislikes, etc.
Yeah, communication is connection, it's play, it's sharing who we are.
Exactly. And when communication, especially AAC learning and use, is framed within that context of fun, enjoyment, and genuine connection, it fosters authentic engagement.
It's about unlocking personality and joy, isn't it?
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what really stands out when you pull it all together is how AAC is so much more than just a tool or a piece of technology. It's truly a catalyst for unlocking hidden potential, for changing long held perceptions, and for fundamentally affirming the basic human right to communicate for every single individual. But it's not magic. It demands our patience. It demands our adaptability, our willingness to learn and grow alongside the user. And maybe above all, it demands our unwavering belief in the potential that resides within every person, regardless of how they communicate. It really challenges us to look beyond perceived limitations and embrace the full, rich spectrum of human expression.
So, as you reflect on everything we've discussed in this deep dive, maybe consider this. If we as a society truly actively embrace the principles in that Communication Bill of Rights for every single individual, what new voices might we finally hear? What unforeseen brilliance, what unique perspectives might we collectively discover? What could happen if every single one of us made it our default to genuinely presume potential in every communicator we meet and consciously tried to foster joy and fun in every single interaction?
It's a really powerful thought, isn't it?
Mhm.
It suggests that expanding communication access and opportunity for one individual doesn't just benefit them. It actually enriches the entire community, bringing new ideas and connections into the fold.
Absolutely. This has just been the beginning, really, of understanding the profound and evolving world of AAC.